Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Tuesday, May the 9th, 2017. Good to have you all here for our first of two shows this week. As always, to start off the show, I want to remind you all of the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight401@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight401. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page once you find it or once you're on it. Again, our first of two shows this week. Once again, we had some issues getting on the air tonight. So my apologies for that. Again, we just got to bear with us until we can figure this out. Lately, I've been told not even to try because I work through these things during the day in between my job and everything else, and I try to figure this out and get this working. And I stay in touch with the right people. And I was told today, I was told the last couple times, don't even try till 9:30, and that's what I've been doing. So. It's kind of par for the course. I'll be sitting here like, okay, fine. I'll listen. I'll heed your advice. Don't even try till 9:30. I don't know why I'm told to do that, but that's what I'm told to do. So, I've done it that way, and I still have to sit here for a good 15, 20 minutes and let it kind of figure itself out. And that's what I did tonight. And of course, tonight, once again, I can't even get on the air until 10 o'clock. So, we're work in progress. Hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully, we can get back on track here. But you know what? As long as we can get the show on at some point, I guess that's the most important thing. Again, the first of two shows this week. It's going to be a pretty normal show this week. Pretty normal group of shows this week. Tonight will be your usual sports and wrestling. We got some NBA playoff action to talk about. We'll also do a little baseball as we talk about what's going on with the New York Mets, which is a huge mess going on there. I don't know if people are aware, but there's a mess going on there. We'll talk about it. And then we'll jump into some wrestling. We'll talk about the latest news out of WWE, including the latest on Braun Strowman's injury, which is going to shuffle things big time in WWE. So we'll talk about that, all that. And then, of course, on Thursday, our entertainment show, Box Office Beat, TV highlights with some entertainment news stuff. That'll be our, and that'll be pretty much, I think we might do a couple special little things, special topics on Thursday. But it depends on time and everything else. So we'll let you all know about that. But it won't be like a big thing, like a summer movie preview thing or anything. It'll be something rather small if we do anything else. So Thursday will be an all entertainment show, and that'll be the way things go for this week. Pretty normal, standard week for us on the show here. Next week will be a little bit different. Next Tuesday we will do. Next Tuesday will be a sports entertainment combo edition. We'll do some NBA playoff stuff, any other sports stuff we have to cover. We will do usual entertainment stuff, Box Office Beat, TV highlights. We won't do wrestling because next Thursday will be an all wrestling show previewing WWE's I'm trying to think of the name of the pay-per-view. Backlash pay-per-view. We'll preview that next Thursday, and of course, do questions and comments from fans as well. So that'll be what we'll do next week. So a little bit different next week, and then the week after is where things are going to be interesting. I almost toyed with the idea of not doing a show at all that week, just because I didn't know what was going on, what was going to be happening. We are going to do a show that week. We're only going to do one show that week. Now, let me give you all a little insight into what's going to be happening come that at the end of the month. I will be away from May 25th all the way through June the 3rd. I believe it's June the 3rd. So we will not have shows on during that stretch. So that Thursday, May the 25th, there will be no show. I think that's Tuesday, May 30th, there won't be a show. And then Thursday, June the 1st, there won't be a show. So be aware of that. We'll be preempted for 3 straight days once we hit that stretch. So, you remember over the last couple of years, I've been off the air for 2 weeks at times. This time I'm going to be off. I'm going to be off the air for almost 2 weeks, but still, it's going to be 2 weeks worth of shows, I should say. So, Just want to let you all know of that. So there will be some preemptions coming up at the end of the month. And then when we come back from that little hiatus there, Memorial Day hiatus there, there's going to be some changes coming for the summer. You know, one of the things that happens in the summer is we are preempted quite a lot. You know, from 4th of July, we always do some preemptions around that time. Late August, the last 2 weeks, we only do, I think, one show. I think it's on Tuesdays. So one of the things that we're going to be doing this summer, I'll get into this more come June. I don't want to get into it now because it's just going to be, there's going to be a few changes for the summer. You know, obviously we always have a reduced amount of shows anyway, but we're going to reduce the amount of shows considerably for the summer. Just because with all the technical problems we're having and everything else, I think that we can stand to do that. And I think one of the things I want to do this year, because, you know, we you know, sometimes we have these, especially in the summertime, over the years, we had a lot of scattered preemptions. You know, sometimes things happen, things pop up. I like the idea of letting you all know early in the summer what the schedule is going to be like for the summer. So you all know, and then you can kind of, you know, go ahead of your business and plan ahead for that. So we'll get into that come June. Right now, we're not going to do that. But I just want to give you all a heads up on that. So remember, pretty normal week this week. Next week, Tuesday, Sports Entertainment Combo Show. Next Thursday, All Wrestling Show Premium WWE's Backlash pay-per-view. And the week after that, we'll only be having one show, and that will be on that Tuesday. And then after that, we'll be preempted for Thursday, May the 25th, Tuesday, May the 30th, and Thursday, June the 1st. And we'll be back on Tuesday, June the 5th. Okay? So I had to make that little announcement there. So, so keep all that in mind. As we welcome in my co-host, Mike, you're in the spotlight.
Why are you like an hour late?
Are you ever just going to go with it and just let it go? Are you just ever just going to come on and say, okay?
No.
Whatever. Anyway, if you were here when I started, you would. But okay.
Well, Brian, would you like me to inform you what you interrupted so rudely?
Okay, I either interrupted you going to the bathroom, I interrupted you watching a wrestling match.
It was both. It was both. I was watching a wrestling match while I was taking a poo. Suddenly I see your. All of a sudden I see your graying hair pop up on my screen saying, "Brian Gardner wants to do the show now," and I'm like, Brian.
Let me ask you a question. Let me point something out to you that many of our fans have every time you have this little rant. If you're not ready to get on the air, don't get on the air. It's your choice. Just saying.
In case you didn't notice, I the call until I was ready to get on the air. So your point is actively moot. But what? I get that. Yeah, your point was moot. I declined the call until I wiped and washed and flushed and came in here and then accepted the call. And though want the high ground, I will accept the call.
I even bother complaining about it. If you deny the call and you were able to finish what you were doing, then what's the problem?
Because you rudely interrupted my poop, and I was enjoying watching Kevin Owens win a wrestling match on SmackDown tonight.
Okay, but you got to watch it, and you got to finish your crap, so you're good. There's no problem here.
Two choices now. You can either drop this moral high ground, or the next time you interrupt me taking a poop, I will come on the air while I'm shitting.
Let me clear something up with you right now. To be fair, this is not my argument. This is the argument of a lot of people that say, why does he start every show with the same complaint? If he has the right to deny getting on the show, and if not, if he can finish what he's doing, and then you do. I mean, even if I started on time, you'd come up with something.
If you started on time, it'd be like, hey, Brian, nice job starting on time.
No, if I start on time, you'd be like, nice job starting on time, but I'm still missing Kevin Owens.
Yes, but see, Kevin Owens is my dude, but you'd be starting on time, which is a difference that hasn't happened in literally months.
Well, I'm just going to point this out to you, okay? send all complaints to care of YouTube because that's why I'm not on the air. I mean, yeah, would I be on the air exactly at 9 o'clock? No, I'd probably be like 9:10, 9:15. But still, that's kind of par for the course with us. We've done that over the years. It happens. So you know what? You and me are both in the same boat. I'm missing things that I'd be like I would like to do because I usually would like to be off the air in a timely fashion, and you're missing things that you'd want to do. So
Yes, like sleep.
Yes, well, like sleep. Yes, exactly. So, we're both.
Being said, with your diatribe, if you had just said, Mike, I would have been like, yeah.
Let me just
my poop. And then shut up. If you had just said that, we could have been talking about how the Toronto Raptors literally, and I'm using this word as a turn of phrase and not what I was doing 5 minutes ago, shit a brick.
Okay.
Conference semifinal.
Listen, God. Listen, I'm only going into this diatribe because I've been asked over the last couple of weeks by people to say something because they all wonder why you're always complaining about it. So I did. I didn't want to open this Pandora's box. I did not want to open this Pandora's box. I knew what the response was going to be, and I told everybody I would take it on the chin for it, and I am. So, see, everybody, I did it. Now I'm getting chewed out for it. Thank you very fucking much.
Yes.
Oh, I just cursed.
Audience, better decisions. Just let me have my poop diatribe. Brian,
let me put it to y'all this way, okay?
Because the next time you will get the Google Hangouts cam aimed directly at what I left behind. Pick your battles.
Remember the days when we were on Talk Show and every time you got on, you would hint at what you were doing and why you were late? We just hint at it.
We're on camera now.
Yeah, so now we kind of have to be a little bit more forthcoming, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, enough about that. I did it, folks. I did it. You all saw the results. Thank you.
No. It was a terrible decision. Don't ever do that again.
Well, I did it, so people maybe I won't get mail about it anymore. That'd be nice.
You're still going to get this mail that I never see, but you're still going to get it. Fair.
Wow. I'm just too weak to get my
choice.
Show it to you, but that's probably par for the course too with me.
This was your choice. You went down this rabbit hole, and all that is there for you is shit.
How appropriate.
No, because the next time you decide to go down this rabbit hole, that's what's going to be on screen too.
Oh, that'd be horrible. Anyway.
Then learn your lesson, Brian and audience, and move on, or else shit is in your future. Now the Toronto Raptors literally shit a brick, and the Cleveland Cavaliers just wrecked the shit out of them. James, he was running like down the court like he had shit in his pants. Was flinging that shit at the rim.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. All right. So obviously, we'll start with the NBA playoffs since Mike so graciously transitioned us into our sports topics for tonight. And we're going to start the NBA playoffs. And look, we're not going to talk much about the NBA playoffs because there's not a reason to talk much about the NBA playoffs because there isn't a lot going on. Look, I don't agree with everybody on the idea that the playoffs so far have been bad. I thought the first round was a little bit better than anticipated. You had some series go a little bit longer than anticipated. So I thought, and we talked about that already. The second round has been terrible. If you take out the Houston-San Antonio series, which right now we have a great game going on in a game 5 from San Antonio where Houston's leading the Spurs 96-93 with 3:14 left. And that's a huge game for Houston because they win that game. They go back to Houston up 3-2, which is huge. If Houston's going to win this series, this is the way they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to win this game here. But we'll see if they do. But, this series, this Houston-San Antonio series has been good. The Celtics-Wizards series has been good. Outside of that, it's been terrible. Look, I think at this point, I know a lot of people are going to complain about Cleveland because anybody that's played Cleveland in this postseason has said that LeBron James looks like he hasn't looked in 2 years. He's playing like a step faster now. Everybody thinks that now Cleveland's doing what a lot of people accuse San Antonio over the years of doing, which is, you rest your guys, you kind of hold back a little bit during the season, and then when you get into the playoffs, you bust it out. And look, I don't. There's two schools of thought here. There's the whole idea of, you should play hard all season long. And then there's the people that say, you know what, all that matters is where you are at the end of the season, not where you are in November, December, January, February. That Cleveland's good enough, just like San Antonio for years was good enough to get regular season wins when resting guys and to do enough to get into the playoffs under those circumstances. They can get away with that because they're just that good. Some teams can't. And if you can get away with it, why not do it? Look, the bottom line is,
you know how many championships San Antonio won using this resting approach? 4.
Yeah.
They won 4.
And Cleveland.
Why wouldn't they do it?
And Cleveland won one last year. I mean, they didn't do it as often last year, but they did it. Now they're doing it even more so because they realize that it's a good idea. The thing is, I don't take issue with it, okay, if your stars are either injury prone or above the age of 30. If you have stars that are under the age of 30 and have not had proven track record of injury, I think it's preposterous to do it. The San Antonio always had players that had this problem, okay? And now Cleveland does. LeBron's in his 30s now. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, look, I don't have an issue with it as long as those circumstances are in play. If they're not, and you're a young team like the Celtics or something, and you're doing it, then that's kind of stupid to me, because you want to see
circumstances in play are being old
and injury prone.
All right.
What's wrong with that? I mean, to me, you have if you have players under the age of 30, okay, like you have a bunch of players at 24, 25, 26 years old, you got to play them more because you need to see what they're going to give. You want them to continue to grow, but you can't see the Celtics benching all their young players right now or in the regular season because you want to see what they're going to do.
All of their players. You mean all of their players?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is if they had said, well, I want to bench Isaiah Thomas or I want to bench, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would make no sense to me because he's maturing as a player. He's growing as a player. In order to do that, you need to keep playing these guys. So, it's not like Cleveland. We know what these players on Cleveland, who these players on the Cavaliers are. We know who these players on the Spurs are. Golden State, whatever. We know who these players are at this point. So we don't need to. If they sit down for a game here and there or whatever, it's not a big deal because, there's no. I mean, the benefits outweigh the negatives in those circumstances. So I don't have an issue with it. I've seen people going crazy about it. I don't have an issue with it, as long as those circumstances are prevalent. If they aren't, then I'm like, okay, like kind of absurd. But here's the thing, all right. I think Cleveland would have been in this situation whether they rested guys or not. All right. Would they have been as dominant? Maybe not. But would they have been in the Eastern Conference Finals? Yeah. That's a given. Would they be as dominant? Who knows? But they've been dominant. We talked about them in the first round, how their defense got progressively better. Their defense was really their issue at times this season. And it just got progressively better as the series with the Pacers went on. And now they just look like they're firing on all cylinders. And Mike mentioned Toronto essentially shit in the bed. Toronto did do that. But Cleveland also just flat out outplayed them the entire series. The result was a series that just wasn't competitive. Toronto just did not, I think you mentioned this yesterday off the air, Mike, they just look like they regressed. They on paper had a better team than last year. They got Ibaka. They got, they seemed to fix their issue, which was, getting players to man the
Interior
paint.
play.
Interior play.
Interior play.
They seem to fix that, and yet they did worse this year than they did last year. Now, why is that? Is that because, was Cleveland a worse team last year? No. Was that because Toronto just surprised people last year? Maybe. I don't know. I do think at the end of the day, despite the fact that Toronto managed to improve their interior play this season because of the players that they were able to acquire, I do know that at the end of the day, Toronto, it always comes down to whether they shoot the ball well or not. If they don't shoot the ball well, if their shooters don't make shots, they don't win. Doesn't matter how many points in the paint they get. And that was the way it went last year, and that's the way it was going to go this year, even with the circumstances being a little bit different. They didn't shoot the ball well this year. Last year at home, when they played home games in Toronto last year during the playoffs, they shot the ball incredibly well. They did not do that this year, and that's why they're going home. At the end of the day, that's the biggest reason for them.
To be honest with you, it's not like they have to leave home because they lost at Toronto.
Yeah. So they're set, but
they had to go home.
You don't take any.
They're going home in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Look, you look at this from the standpoint of you don't take anything away from Cleveland. Cleveland played extremely well in this series. They made a big statement in this series, a huge statement in this series. But you have to look at Toronto too and say that, you know what, this is bad. The GM has already said they need to reset the culture a little bit. I don't think they have to make wholesale changes, but I think they need to remember. Look, the interior play is better. They have their shooters, but they need somebody that's going to cut to the basket. They need more reliable guards. They need guards that are going to be willing to go to the basket. Either their guard play has to become less one-dimensional, or they have to go get players that aren't going to be so one-dimensional. That's the bottom line. That's the next step here for the Raptors. Cleveland's going to wait and see what happens with the Celtics and the Wizards. That series is going to continue tomorrow. And look, both these teams, I thought this was going to be a good series. I thought they were evenly matched. I think we'll talk about the point guard play and the matchup of Wall and Thomas, and it's been a phenomenal matchup. And I thought it'd be a good series, and it has been a good series. And I do think it's going to go 7 games. I do. I still think the Celtics will get out of this series, but, and there's a lot of people think that this is going to be key for the Celtics because the Celtics have been challenged far more than the Cavaliers. Now, look, we had this argument, Mike remembers, last year. Challenged. We all saw how that ended up.
They won a championship.
I mean, they were down 3-1, and they still did it. So I don't subscribe to this thinking. At this point, I think Cleveland has proven to us that whether they get challenged in this postseason or not, they're going to be more than ready to win a championship, no matter what the case is here. So I don't subscribe to that. Look, is it good for the Celtics to be challenged? Yes. Is it same would be for the Wizards if they advance? It is good, but it doesn't. I think Cleveland's a different animal here. Just like I would think San Antonio or Golden State's a different animal. They have championship pedigree. They have experience. If you're not experienced in those in championship performance, then I think it's a little bit different. But if you are, then I don't think there's an issue. So I still expect the Celtics to win here. It's a big game tomorrow, but I still think the Celtics will win here. Now, we've mentioned Cleveland. Golden State has been just as dominant. But again, Golden State's been shooting the ball well. And we all know what happens with Golden State when they don't shoot the ball well. They don't play well. It's just that they're a little bit less one-dimensional than the Toronto Raptors are. So, look, Golden State's going to have a harder time in their conference finals, no doubt, than Cleveland is. And that's not a knock on Boston or Washington. I do think that both those teams will play well against Cleveland. But when you look at the potential matchups on either side of the conference finals, whether it's Houston or San Antonio, they're going to present a much greater challenge to Golden State than I think Boston or Washington will to Cleveland. Does that mean that Boston or Washington can't somehow beat Cleveland? There's a chance. It's a very small one, but there's a chance. But I would say that if you look at if San Antonio plays Golden State, you give them a far bigger chance. And Houston, a good one too, but not quite as big. So, look, Golden State, they have the situation with Kerr, and he's been in and out, and is that going to be a problem? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. They haven't looked like they missed a beat so far. I think the biggest thing is as long as Golden State shoots the ball at the clip that they're shooting the ball, they make their shots, then they're going to win games, and they're going to be in the NBA Finals, and then we'll see what they do against the Cleveland, assuming that's who they get. If they don't make their shots, then that's what's going to put them in trouble. If they go into a prolonged shooting rut like they did in the finals last year, then they're going to be in trouble. But as long as they're not, then they're going to do their thing, and they're just going to keep doing well. Now, right now, Houston and San Antonio are tied at 101 apiece with 11 seconds left. Great game. So that game's on TNT, so check that out if you're interested. And this is a huge game. This is a huge swing game. Houston, to me, if Houston wins this game, then I give them a huge chance to win Game 6 and win this series. If they don't and San Antonio wins it, then, the pressure's all on Houston because even if you win Game 6, you're still going back to San Antonio for a Game 7 in that building. And I know this ain't the same San Antonio Spurs. There's no Duncan. Parker's out for the postseason, which is going to be a huge loss for them. That might dictate a lot of things going forward. We'll talk more about that as it goes along, obviously. But, you still got Kawhi Leonard, you still got Aldridge, and they have, and San Antonio in that building is tough, and they got experience. And I personally just think that, if you're Houston, your opportunity is right here. It's easier to win a Game 5 in San Antonio than a Game 7. You already won one game in San Antonio. It's easier to win a Game 5 than a Game 7. When there's no tomorrow. It's so much easier. Get it out of the way now and go back to your place up 3-2 with the opportunity to close it out. Put the pressure on San Antonio. Yes, they've handled it well before, but you're putting the pressure on them in your building. Don't let them dictate this series. Take control. That's the key. It's a big game for Houston here tonight. A big game. Because I think this is their chance to win the series. If they have one, it's right here. So, and now, like I said, it's like I felt like about the Celtics, who are in a very tough fight with the Wizards. I still think San Antonio will come out of this series. But you got to give Houston credit, just like you got to give Washington credit. They are playing, and we all thought these series would be good. These would be the 2 series of the second round, and they've lived up to that billing. They're going into overtime now in San Antonio, 101 apiece in Game 5. So we'll keep an eye on that score as we go along here. So, Mike, your thoughts on the NBA playoffs here?
Toronto should have brick. They shoot that brick so hard. All right. So Toronto sucked. As I said earlier, it looks like they regressed, and to an extent, I think they did. Now, last year, I think I noted that Cleveland had injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't necessarily 100%.
True.
It wasn't. So they had to kind of play around them. And if Toronto was going to win last year, it was right there. If they had Serge Ibaka last year, I feel like maybe Toronto could have competed a little bit more. But I don't think they would have beaten. They would have beaten Golden State. Golden State smothered Utah. That level yet. That's how it is. Really good to get to that level. They exposed the Clippers, who were just ready to be blown up. But when it came time to play the Warriors, they had no answers for those shooters. No answers. And Gordon Hayward wasn't shooting the best either. So if he's not on, then Utah's not on. Houston and San Antonio is closer than has any right of being. San Antonio probably should have won this game, but dynamics totally different. Not even trying to, like. Anyways, Washington versus Boston is a good series so far. But who knows? That one is oddly very competitive. Cities in Germany. Anyways. But anyways. The second round has been kind of a blah. The teams that are winning, the teams that have swept are the teams you expected to sweep. Toronto to be a little more competitive. And the fact they weren't was a little disappointing. So it goes. You hear that? You hear that ad? That's what's up. It's for Wheel of Fortune. I don't know. The NBA playoffs kind of happened. And happening, and we've only have two kind of average, two decent series. So. We said you're going bald and graying.
Oh, stop.
Move on.
So like I said, we'll keep an eye on the San Antonio-Houston game as we go along here. It's still tied at 101 as they start overtime. A couple other tidbits. Obviously, the playoffs are taking the lead here, but there's been a lot of little headlines over the last couple of days. I just want to get I'm more or less bringing this up because I want to get Mike's reaction to two of these because we talked about this I think last night on Draymond Green calling Kelly Olynyk dirty player, which is an interesting thing to come out of Draymond Green's mouth. And look, I when he was at Michigan State, I loved Draymond Green. Okay, and I still like the way I still like him as a player when he doesn't open his mouth and when he doesn't do stupid things. All right, I like Draymond Green, but oh boy, I mean, for Draymond Green to be throwing around stuff like that.
Draymond Green used to not talk about how anybody else plays basketball ever. Because how many times a game does Draymond Green end up on the floor because he flops?
Yeah.
We'll give Draymond credit, though. He actually signed. He walked over and actually autographed somebody's Draymond Green flop counter. I will give him all the credit of the world for that, by the way.
That is pretty cool.
Owning it. That's owning your nonsense. But Kelly Olynyk is a player. Gonzaga has not learned what the hell a pivot foot is. You would have think, with all of the fantastic coaches that he has had over his time, learned pivot foot is something you need, and you cannot change that or else it doesn't travel. Kelly Olynyk is essentially blessed. Otherwise, he would be totally useless as a player because there'd be no reason to hand him the ball because he can't figure that fundamental tenet of the game out. The kid is a walking, living, breathing, existing travel call. And the fact that he has, it's just been normalized is embarrassing, but he's in the NBA. And Draymond Green, Captain Hay, guess what blew up everybody's timelines this past summer? To give you a hint. Talking about anybody else's stupidity.
Yeah.
Potential basketball nonsense. And by the way, Draymond, you're a dirty player occasionally too. Everybody in the NBA is occasionally a dirty player. Shit happens.
Well, Isaiah Thomas called Green calling Olenek dirty a joke. So that's, yeah. But a couple other things. Gordon Hayward has the option of opting out of his contract with the Jazz, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for the summer. Westbrook and Durant are set to be on talking terms, which is interesting. I love how I love how we feel the need to report that. But this is the one I want to get your reaction about. This one I think it's funny. So, I don't want to go into all the stuff with Alonzo Ball and his father and, and everything. Mike knows about it. I'm sure everybody knows about what's been going on with this mess, right? And
I follow it, but I've heard some things.
Okay, so, I told you the other day, and for those that do not know, it was reported that, his father has been marketing his kids and he's had all these designs on their career. Okay, he has other kids too that are going to be going to UCLA and everything. He has their whole career essentially ironed out ahead of him. Like everything's designed, everything's outlined. Okay, and he's designing his own sneaker for his son Lonzo and everything, and because he's not getting any of these endorsements, mostly because of Lonzo's father. And, it got out, I think, was it last week, that they're going to sell a Lonzo Ball sneaker for, was it $495, I think it was. Something like that. And everybody's like, well, God, this is absurd, Well, today, I'm going to read you this quote. The quote's what I'm interested in, your reaction to this. People's reactions on Twitter was, well, boy, a pair of Jordans would never go for $495 or anything like that. This is what was said, okay? MJ's not Lonzo, so he can't sell $495 gear.
Who said that quote?
Lonzo's father.
Who made that quote?
LeVar Ball. You can find it. It's everywhere. It's on ESPN. It's out there. Michael Jordan can't sell $495 shoes because he's not Lonzo. Let me give you the context of this so that you don't think I'm speaking out of turn here. Nobody thinks that. LeVar Ball says his son Lonzo Ball, this is from ESPN, by the way, says his son Lonzo Ball was doing something Michael Jordan could never do, sell shoes for $495 during a panel discussion on Fox Sports 1's Undisputed about the new $495 Z02s that debuted last week under the Big Baller brand. That's their family's brand. Co-host Shannon Sharp advised LeVar Ball that Michael Jordan couldn't command $495 for shoes. And this is what LeVar Ball said. This is a quote. And I quote, because he ain't Lonzo Ball, that's why. Did he have his own brand coming in? It's a new era called the Ball era. End quote. He's made this big point about how he can, he's got his own brand. This is because his father has had this for years. He knew his son was good at basketball. He got all this hype at UCLA, and his father is done this. He's been doing this since his sons were, playing the game. He's done this, He wants to take control of their career, make sure that they can maximize their value. So he's developing their own brand, whether it's shoes, clothes, everything. He's developing it for them himself. And he's claiming this is the reason, that Michael Jordan couldn't do that. He couldn't develop his own brand. He had to do his own. He had to go sign with Nike and all these other things. So that was the quote, because he ain't Lonzo Ball. That's why Michael Jordan can't sell $495 shoes. This is going to be fun when he gets in the NBA, isn't it?
Kid's going to have no career.
Oh, my God.
That kid is going to walk into the NBA, whatever team he's drafted in, and there he's going to get the worst reality. Then he's going to end up in his first game. Somebody who's probably signed to the Jordan brand is going to knock that kid on the ass and like, hey, what about them $495 sneakers, kid?
I also want to point this out. This is
I want to point this out real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Michael Jordan can sell whatever price range he wants to for sneakers. Obviously, he chooses to sell his sneakers, which are probably made for $15, or sums of $99 to about $300,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the thing. Now here's a funny thing: somebody is selling. I twittered Jordan. Somebody actually posted this. Somebody is actually selling an Air Jordan 4 Retro limited edition. I guess Eminem did a brief Jordan shoe. I don't know if that's true or not. I could be wrong. But this individual, this retro Air Jordan 4s for $30,000. So I guess Lonzo Ball can't sell sneakers because he ain't no Michael Jordan. This guy is going to kill his kid's career. And by the way, this kid, I actually looked it up. He said, "Oh man, back in my day, I would have schooled Michael. I would kill Michael Jordan 1-on-1." Yes, LeVar Ball, who averaged 2.2 points and 2.3 rebounds as a Washington State Cougar in '87 and '88.
Yes, he would have definitely schooled him. Yes,
the NBA at that time. Say, but I think it's that Michael Jordan guy.
Yeah, I really think a guy that averaged 2.2 points a game would have schooled Michael Jordan. Wow. Well then. Like you said it best. You know, this look, the endorsements are not coming in for this guy because nobody wants to work with this kid because they don't want to be micromanaged. They don't want that. And look, do I think this is going to affect his draft stock? No, he's still going to go top 3. He's probably going to go number 1 still. As far as I know, at this point, he's probably still going to go number 1. Although I would not surprise me as we get closer to the draft if his father continues to do this kind of junk and he starts to try to make, make requests of the teams that are in line to try to draft him, and if he tries to push things, I could see a team or two saying no, I won't do it, and saying we won't draft you. We'll just, you know what I mean? I could see that. Because, I mean, if you're a team, would you want to be dealing with this drama? I wouldn't. I could see it.
Now, here's the thing, though. He's setting up expectations for unrealistic expectations because now, if you're going to sell a $495 sneaker, you're expecting your kid to come out there in his first game in the NBA, be the greatest player since Jesus Christ. I'm talking about Jesus Christ during his basketball career when he wore $495 sandals playing ball for the Kingdom of Heaven Methuselahs, because why the hell not?
No, you are. That is in a joking fashion, it is a great point. You know, he selling a $495 shoe. I mean, he's it's a brand. You know, he's establishing a brand. Like, is it just me, or does it seem like it's more about the brand than it is about his play? Everything's about this brand. Like, everything's about his father. I mean, his father's not. Look, his father established this whole thing. He's going to reap the benefits of it financially. So, I mean, like most parents do when their kids are, drafted and everything else. But this is a major issue. I really feel bad for him. I really do. I think that this is all he's ever known, that his father's like this, and this is the way it. And he's got at least two other brothers behind him, and they're all getting the same treatment. It's just, I don't know. This is going to be a mess for the NBA. This is going to be a major mess. Wherever this kid goes, it's going to be a mess for that team. This guy's going to be a monster. He's going to try to get involved in things he shouldn't be involved in. I mean, this has got the makings of a major problem. if you think about it. I mean, I don't even know how UCLA got around it, but they only had to deal with him for a year, so that's probably why. But he also didn't have the hype until he started. I mean, like everybody knew he was going to be a good player, but until he started playing and doing what he did on the court and at UCLA, the hype was under control. Once he started going crazy at UCLA, the hype got out of control, and that's when his father really got going. So that's probably why I think it wasn't so bad at UCLA and they could deal with it. But man, this is going to be a mess, a major mess. And speaking of messes, we're going to transition from NBA to another mess that a team's going to have with egos. This one doesn't involve parents; it involves the actual players and involved. Not again, no parents involved, but just players themselves. And as we jump to baseball, we're going to talk about the Mets, who have a major situation on their hands right now. I'm sure by now people know he's been trending on Twitter for like the last 4 days. Matt Harvey.
Comey?
Well, James Comey.
The former director of the FBI as of 5 p.m. today.
Well, don't get me started on that.
Political show, and thank God for that.
For those of you who do not know about Matt Harvey, Matt Harvey's been a developing story for the Mets, whether it's been known to many people or not, for the last few years. From him missing a workout prior to a series with the Dodgers in the playoffs, a mandatory workout, might I add, because he lost track of time, to other instances where they caught him. Obviously, he's had injuries. Obviously, there's been other things going on. We know what Matt Harvey's situation is. And then you got the Noah Syndergaard thing where he refused to take an MRI. Now he's out for pretty much the year. Got into an incident with a media representative and got caught, and that was a mess. And now you got Matt Harvey, who missed a game over the weekend, a start, because he had a migraine. Now, look, migraines are big deals. I'm not saying that a migraine can't keep you out of playing. I can see that. I'm not trying to minimize that, because I know some people that suffer horrible migraines. I'm not trying to minimize that, but you have to let the team know. There's a process here. If you're not feeling up to it, then you come to the park, you meet with the team physician, and you explain to him what's going on, because you have to go through the team for these kind of things. It got to the point where he didn't show up, and they had to send security over there to check on him. They were worried about him. He was in his pajamas, and he basically said, "I got a migraine. I didn't want to play, whatever." Now, I guess today Matt Harvey apologized and said he was embarrassed, and his teammates forgave him. Now, there was a lot of tension about this. Terry Collins, they scratched him. And look, the Mets organization's always been a mess. They'll tell you one thing, and then 5 minutes later they tell you another thing. Like yesterday, they said, Matt, they weren't gonna put Noah Syndergaard on the 60-day DL, and then 5 minutes later they did it, which they had to. But besides the point, Matt Harvey is going to pitch on Wednesday. Well, now Matt Harvey's not going to pitch on Wednesday. You ask Terry Collins about it? Well, you have to ask him. Why would we have to ask him? You're the manager. You weren't in on that decision? Like, how are you not in on that decision? That doesn't make much sense. So, this is just a thing where the Mets have pretty much coddled their stars. Look, they were, and that's what they do. The Mets, they spend time in mediocrity, and when they get a taste of success, and they have these guys that are successful. In this case, it was pitchers. They give them the world. They treat them like they treat them. They go out of the way to treat them well, thinking that, hey, if we do this, they're not going to want to leave when their free agency comes up. Well, guess what? Players are going to leave whether you treat them well or not. All they're going to care about is, most of the time, you might get lucky once in a while and get a player that doesn't, but most of the time, that's all they care about is the dollars on the paycheck. That's what they care about. Somebody gives them more money, they're going to go there, whether you treat them well or not. The bottom line is this. The Mets have been a terrible organization in terms of organization. We all, and for those that do not know, the infamous sex toy scandal from the weekend, where there was a picture on social media of a sex toy in the background of a player, which somehow got missed. This is an organization that is not on the ball with things.
Well, I believe on the ball with things is probably not the best words to use in this circumstance.
Very, very true point. My apologies.
Hey, maybe the guy likes his sex toys.
Look,
Maybe he likes using them on his partner, or maybe he likes when his partner uses them on him. Who are we to judge?
that's okay. All right. So
He at least he is owning the fact, maybe that I haven't paid attention to the story. Maybe he is owning the fact that he enjoys sticking things up people's butts, or likes
okay,
having things stuck up his butt.
okay. The bottom line is there's
It's
enough
not
people
for
involved.
there's not for a lot of people, but for him, this is his bag.
There's enough people there that should have known not to post that picture, that should have seen it and noticed it, and they didn't, and it became a big mess. There's another, and that's what the Mets do. They're not. They don't.
I'm pretty sure you should also not use the words "a big mess" when referring to this thing. About it.
Oh, okay.
Think about it.
All right. Okay. I just want to I gotta get this thought out because I'm gonna lose it. The bottom line is somebody should have noticed it. They didn't. Okay. This has been going on with the Mets for years. They've always been this kind of franchise, so it's not shocking. But what's more disturbing here is that between the usual Mets chaos of not monitoring things, of not taking care of things the right way, now you have them coddling superstars. And look, that's the culture we live in. We hype players before they even get drafted. We overhype players. It's become more of a sports have become player oriented more than team oriented, and that's given rise to the idea that players control things far more than they should. But if you think about baseball and you think and even basketball, I mean, they're team-oriented sports, and you need to remember the team. You need to remember that the player. You can't coddle these guys. You can't just because you're fearing that they're going to leave you in free agency. You can't do that. The result is what you're getting now with the Mets and some of these pitchers who, the pitchers are the reasons why they got back into relevancy over the last couple of years. And I understand that they've contributed greatly to the recent success of this team. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that you let them dictate everything you do. There has to be discipline has to happen. You have to keep control of the situation. You can't let the inmates run the asylum. Your manager, your general manager, your ownership should be able to walk in a room and there should be respect. If there's not respect, then you have a problem. And I don't think there is respect. I think it's pretty clear that these guys don't respect their ownership. They don't respect their manager. They look at their manager probably like a grandpa instead of a manager. They don't. And despite what apology Matt Harvey apparently gave to it, it's not enough. It's too late. It's a step, but it needs to be more than that. There needs to be demonstrated maturity and growth. You look at all these teams around baseball. You don't see what you see with the Mets. There's respect, but to a manager, to a general manager, to an owner, there's respect. Now, it's not always universally across the board. You do hear about instances with players not respecting ownership or whatever. You do hear about that, but never have I remembered it being so widespread on a team like it is with the Mets lately. And that's the problem.
When you hear about those cases where players don't respect ownership, they don't last on the team, and they're considered radioactive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like nobody wants to touch them.
This is
more harm than good, really, to have that attitude in baseball.
Agreed. And this is a situation where, like you said, normally it doesn't last. Players either traded or cut or whatever. The fact that Matt Harvey has lasted this long with this team, with all these problems that apparently have built up over the years, that should show you what the problem is with the New York Mets. Any other team, this guy would have been gone by now, no matter what he did.
And blackballed.
Yeah. Now, look, I hope that this is a turning point, and I hope – because the Mets are at a crossroads here. Either Matt Harvey has to mean what he said apparently in his apology that he did to the team and really show that he's going to mature and grow up. And that goes for all their players. This has to change. This culture has to change. Or the Mets have to make a change, force a change. and you trade these guys or you do something to change it on your own. One way or the other, it has to stop. It's the bottom line. They're at a crossroads here. It's gotten too, they let it go on for too long. If they nipped it in the bud early, it might never have gotten to this point where he's missing games and all this other crap. And thinking it's okay to do whatever the hell he wants just because the Mets need him. They're desperate. Mets, this has to be the start of something better, a better, more positive route for him and for all their players. They all have to be like that and improve and be professional and go to work and do your job. Either they all do that or you make changes because you can't have that kind of culture. This can't happen. You can't be successful with it, and it's just not good. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. It's going to be a situation that Mets are going to have to deal with. Hopefully, it's the worst if it's over, but you're going to be skeptical until you see it demonstrated consistently for a long period of time that the worst is behind them. Update: San Antonio wins Game 5, 110-107. So San Antonio now leads the best-of-7 series, 3-2. Game 6 will be in Houston. It is a must-win for the Rockets, or the series is done.
Or they get Toronto Raptored.
Yep, or they get Toronto Raptored. So, so good job to San Antonio. That was and to me, I think Houston just lost their chance because I think could they win Game 6? Certainly they could win Game 6. But look, Game 7 in San Antonio, I don't know if I can see Houston winning it. So I think Houston just lost their chance. But we'll see. We'll see. And by the way, the Spurs did this without Kawhi Leonard on the floor in overtime. So that's even more impressive. Really. So we'll see. Game 6 in Houston. We'll see what happens here. And of course, Boston and Washington will continue their series tomorrow. That'll obviously be a crucial game too. So we'll see what happens there. We've done a lot of sports tonight. We got a little wrestling to do. So we're going to jump right in here as we talk about this week's Raw and SmackDown. We're going to lump them together because, they're both were taped editions and, not a lot going on. And so, Mike, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on Raw and SmackDown this week?
I only saw 1.5 segment of SmackDown. I saw the 6-man main event tag, half of the Ziggler. I guess they were starting a match. And where are you going? How rude. Rude. Isn't he rude, everybody? Just getting up and leaving like that. How rude. But anyways, I don't know. I didn't see much of SmackDown. I imagine it was okay. The match was fine, if not super predictable. There's that. As for Raw, it happened. We had to write off Braun Strowman. That hurt a little inside. Among men, after all, and we've had to write him off. It was a tragedy. I don't know. Raw was just kind of there. I mean, there were some good moments. This match, of course, was good, with an effective, if not predictable, finish. What else is on Raw? The Miz and Ambrose dynamic was fine. Bray Wyatt gets a much-needed win over his eternal rival, Dean Ambrose. That was super helpful. So, I mean, the matches were fine. Obviously, Seth. Oh, Tag Team Turmoil was probably the highlight. Sheamus and Cesaro were well on that. That really ridiculous how over Sheamus and Cesaro got and looked so strong. That was probably the highlight of the show, was the tag team turmoil match. Obviously, the best wrestling match was probably versus Rollins, but I don't know, in terms of effective storytelling, Sheamus and Cesaro are doing great with a new heel turn. So Raw was just kind of there. Alexa Bliss continues to shine and outshine Bayley on every step of the way. Saying how much better she is over Bayley. It is embarrassing. Much props to Bliss for that. Respect to Alexa Bliss for shining, and so I don't know. Again, I didn't see all of SmackDown. Can't really commentate on it because I haven't seen it. A match and a segment. But Raw was fine. Highlights of tag team turmoil: Alexa Bliss being Alexa Bliss. Of course. Tag team turmoil. Oh, Joe versus Rollins. That was the thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot of thoughts. Obviously, we'll talk more about Braun Strowman because that was the big news from this week. They had to do the write-off angle, and I wasn't in love with the way they did it. I thought they could have just suspended him or something, but whatever. It is what it is.
They could have had him assault Kalisto and just be suspended for a month. That would have been more effective. But Kurt Angle wasn't there. It was Miz and Ambrose.
Yeah, I think the way that they did it was stupid. And look, I like that Miz main evented 2 straight Raws in a way. Like they had like the IC title thing and everything. That was good. I don't mind that. But look, Raw is really suffering here, and I think the reason why it's suffering is because, unlike SmackDown, everything feels fresh on SmackDown because they change things up. The feuds are different. Say what you want about Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton, but it's different, right? Owens versus AJ Styles, it's different. Nakamura Ziggler, different. You know what I'm saying? It's all different. Whereas with Raw, they just kind of continue stuff that we've been seeing for like the last 4 months. Raw just continuously rides things, and the only things that are working on Raw, Miz and Ambrose's work because they're picking up that feud, and it's kind of still relatively new. And Bliss's work, Alexa Bliss's work, because again, it's new. You're seeing her at Bayley now, and there's different things. And the Sheamus Cesaro Hardy stuff is working because again, it's fresh. Joe and Seth Rollins, I'm done with it. It's boring. It's tired.
I think they're doing good stuff still. They're telling a good story. I disagree with you.
I know, but you're kind of I you know what I think the problem is. I shouldn't. Let me try to be fair here because you know what I think you're kind of right. I think the problem here is that we've had Seth Rollins. This is why I think Seth Rollins kind of needed to move to SmackDown. We've had the whole Authority versus Rollins thing going on for how long now? And Samoa Joe is kind of an extension of that. So it feels like we're just seeing Seth Rollins in the same damn storyline that we've seen him in for how long? I think that's kind of the problem, I think. But look, again, anything that's fresh and new is coming off really good right now. And that's why I think the problem is with Raw. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. How long has Braun and Roman been feuding? It's more than 6 months. Granted, they broke apart around WrestleMania because Roman went towards Undertaker, and Braun was on his own. But it's been constant. And again, that's my problem. So it's SmackDown's got the energy again, while Raw is kind of it reminds me a little bit of August, where it's just a case of needing things to be fresh again, refreshed, and hopefully that will happen soon. I think it will come June, but it needs to happen soon because Raw's really suffering because of it. So my thoughts. Alexa Bliss stuff.
It doesn't help that the title's not on the show either.
That, 100% agree. That doesn't help either. I like that I main evented with the IC title, but still, I like the Alexa Bliss stuff. I thought the Ambrose and Miz stuff was good. There were good moments, but again, it was kind of like a mediocre. And because it's taped, it always comes off worse to me. But the crowd chants were fun at times, though. SmackDown tonight, I watched bits and pieces. The main event was good. I know that. Well, I don't know that, but I could tell that that's probably more than likely good. I'll watch it later, but but yeah, I mean, and the Nakamura Ziggler stuff is again, anything Nakamura at this point is good. So, not a lot going on. Now, the big news this week was Braun Strowman, who had to be written out, as we said last night, because he's got injuries. It's supposed to be out 4 to 8 weeks. They've had to change their plans for Extreme Rules and for that pay-per-view.
Say it.
Great balls of fire. Great balls of fire.
You said it.
So they've had to change their plans for those pay-per-views. Now, we don't know what those plans. That's probably likely why. That might be why the last 2 Raws have been kind of bad, but because they knew about this last week, I think, too. So, but you look at last night they did the Rollins Samoa Joe match. They're going to do Ambrose Miz next week. I think that they're shuffling things up because they need to make things. And I do not think Roman Reigns is going to be facing Brock Lesnar. So, they kind of have to. I think their plan was to do a number 1 contenders match at Extreme Rules with Reigns and Strowman. They'll probably make that like a triple threat now. They'll probably combine Rollins. They'll probably combine Rollins and the Rollins Joe feud with Roman Reigns, and use that to transition Reigns into a Joe feud, which they'll probably do that for the summer, while Rollins is probably going to get Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire.
Say it again.
Great Balls of Fire. But no, I think that's who's going to get. It's either going to be Rollins or Finn Balor. Because I noticed they didn't really acknowledge the Finn Balor or Bray Wyatt stuff too much. So,
Bray Wyatt cost him the match.
Oh, yeah, he did cost him the match. Well, okay, then forget it. I forgot about that. I blocked it out. Sorry, I blocked out a lot of Raw last night. That's my bad. But yeah, okay, so maybe not. So it probably will be Seth Rollins. And plus, Rollins and Brock Lesnar do have a little bit of unfinished business, so I guess it works out. But, we'll see. We'll see what their plans are. I still think Braun Strowman will get Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And I think in a way it's probably better because I think what their plan was to do some kind of like no contest type deal at Great Balls of Fire. And then have Braun face him again at SummerSlam. I think it works out better if he just faces him at SummerSlam. But, it obviously is a tremendous bro. Braun Strowman has been really carrying Raw since the shakeup. Some people's eyes, he's the top face. So
he is.
Yeah. So, so you got this Braun Strowman thing, then the Hardy stuff where apparently WWE doesn't have the rights to the broken gimmick, which has been a big story. That's been a big story. Emma, I don't know if you know this, Mike. Emma's injured again.
That was so long.
She suffered a shoulder injury at a house show in Liverpool. She was sent home. They're going to have tests done. We don't know how bad it's going to be. But that's the story there. Too bad. That's the story there. So got her injured too here. So, so your thoughts on any of these? Braun, Emma, the Hardy.
Emma getting injured so soon after is a big hit. Plans for her, finally. Maybe not huge plans, but they had some plans. Excuse me, I'm struggling to stay awake here. TNA reclaim the rights to the broken gimmick. Well, going to get impacted Matt Hardy sooner than later. So maybe it would have been a better idea for them just to sell the broken gimmick, because who else is going to do that gimmick in TNA? Oh, look at that. We have broken Cody. Oh, we have broken Alberto El Patron. And here's my favorite. Are you ready? Are you ready for broken Bobby Lashley and broken Josh Matthews? They are going to delete everything.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem. Nobody can do that gimmick like those guys. Just let it go. You should have upgraded it. He's going to find a workaround anyway because they're essentially going to have the broken gimmick. They just might be, you know.
Yeah. You done?
Oh, and Braun Strowman is the face and. In fact, Braun Strowman is Raw. That's it.
Yeah.
Other than Bliss,
Yeah.
and Sheamus and Cesaro.
Alexa Bliss and Sheamus and Cesaro are going to have to be the saving graces for a while.
Yep.
But yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, we wish Strowman well. Hopefully, he comes back on the shorter end of the 4 to 8 weeks, and we see him again. And but yeah, not a big wrestling week. Not a lot of stuff going on other than those stories. So, all right, we got through everything we need to get through. So we're gonna wind down. As always, the show is old. The show might be old. It's not mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your feedback. We need it. We want it. Keep sending it in. Questions about the show and the scheduling of the show, topic ideas or breaking news items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Reactions or comments on things we talked about on the show, things we said, all that kind of stuff. Any things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook. And then make sure that you like our fan page once you find it, once you're on it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about the show, especially when it comes to scheduling. Obviously, delays and postponements happen. So in order to get the latest information about the show, timing, and all that kind of stuff, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter be able to get all that. It's the best way to get it. And of course, we post random stuff on those feeds as well. So make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter so you can have access to all of that and more. Kind of search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes, you have 2 ways in which to do that. You can stream us anytime on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to every episode we ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube. That's every episode from mid-October of 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode. Those episodes are available for you to stream anytime you like, so please feel free to do that. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Google Plus and YouTube. If you're interested in older episodes of the show, maybe you want to listen to us on the go. Maybe you just don't like streaming. You prefer to listen to us rather than see us on screen. If any of that applies to you, then you might want to check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search In the Spotlight 411 on those sites. You'll have access to every episode we've ever done over the nearly 7 years we've been doing this show. That's everything from our original Blog Talk Radio run from October 2010 to January 2011. Everything from our Talk Show run from January 2011 all the way up until mid-October 2015. And, of course, all of our episodes from Google Plus and YouTube from mid-October 2015 all the way up until tonight's episode. All those episodes are transferred into audio format for your convenience. They're all in order from most recent date to the oldest. So you can check those episodes out anytime you want. Maybe you're a fan that's trying to keep up with recent episodes, maybe miss an episode, miss a Parliament episode, or maybe you're a longtime fan wants to check out an episode from a few years ago, a new fan wants to check out an episode like that for the first time. If any of that applies to you, make sure you check us out on our main host sites, again, Podbean and iTunes. Just search In the Spotlight 411 on those sites, and you'll have access to those episodes and can listen to them anytime you wish. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, always keep up with our episodes, look back at classic episodes, all that good stuff. Feel free to utilize those resources. Very, very helpful. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411 on all of those sites. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
It is officially time for bed.
I want to thank myself, pat myself again for another great show, pat myself on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching or listening to this later, thank you to you as well. That is it for tonight. We have one more show this week that will be on Thursday, broadcasting and streaming live here on Google Plus and not Google Plus, on YouTube Live, I should say. I keep saying Google Plus still. It's weird. Sorry about that. Yeah, broadcasting and streaming live here on YouTube Live. Hopefully, again, we always try, but we never know. At 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time this Thursday. Entertainment show for the week, box office beat, TV highlights, entertainment news. Might do a little bit more than that, but we'll see. But pretty much just an entertainment show on Thursday. Again, next week, we have 2 shows, a sports entertainment combo show on Tuesday. Next Thursday, an all-wrestling show previewing WWE SmackDown exclusive Backlash pay-per-view. Of course, we'll do questions and comments from the fans as well during the show. You can send them in before the show or during the show next Thursday. And again, the week after that, we'll only have 1 show on that Tuesday, and then we'll be preempted for 2 weeks. So keep all that in mind here as we go along. I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great Wednesday, and a great Thursday. We'll see you back here for our next show this coming Thursday night, which is May the 11th. Broadcasting and streaming live here on YouTube Live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Until then, have a good night, everybody.